few guests in the audience. So when I say your name, if you would please stand and give us all a little princess or parade, whatever you want to call it, and we'll say hello to you. Starting out with a guest of Joe Demchevsky, we have Jody Miller.
Hi, Jody. Jody.
Guest of Joe DeChatelet, Melanie David.
Hi, Melanie.
Guest of Margaret Higgins, Kathy Alexander.
Hey, Kathy.
Another guest of Margaret Higgins, Paul Lindsey.
Hi, Paul.
Two guests of Mike Schulte, and Mike, you said they were prospective members. They're interested in the club?
Yes.
All right. We have Olga Becker.
Hi, Olga.
And Dan Daisy.
Hi, Dan.
Thanks for coming. We have a guest of Frank Dahl, Sandy Dahl.
Hi, Sandy.
Guest of Andy Kyle, Mark Kyle.
Hi, Mark.
Guest of Matt Blair. We have John Lee. And Matt, do you have your son there with you? I can't remember his name.
Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Okay, guest of Tom Campbell. We have Bill Mcgraw. And guest of Jim Murphy. We have Connie Murphy. Who are you? I'm just kidding. A guest of John Juan. We have Noreen. Hello, we know you too. And Matt, your son's listed here. I didn't see him on the list. So, hi, glad you guys are out here. Thank you guys who are tuning in virtually today. I hope you enjoy the show. Now for our program, we have Jeff Ronstadt, member since August of 2006 with Ronstadt Insurance, and proud dad to recent South Point graduate Mia.
Thank you for that rousing round of applause. So today's speaker is Juan Ciscomani. He serves as Governor Doug Ducey's Senior Advisor for Regional and International Affairs. He oversees the operations of the Governor's Southern Arizona office and the work in Northern Arizona. He also serves as the Vice Chair of the Arizona-Mexico Commission, leads the Governor's efforts internationally, and is the Governor's liaison with all 32 foreign diplomatic offices in Arizona. Raise your hand if you knew that Arizona had 32 foreign diplomatic offices. Liar. Okay, maybe not. Okay, and then he is married to the beautiful Laura, and funny story. No, we'll talk about that later. Juan says his proudest accomplishments are his 6 children: Zoe, Juan IV, Kenneth, Lily, Lucas, and Gloria. So, my fellow Rotarians and guests, would you please give a warm Rotary welcome to Juan Ciscomani.
Hi everyone, thank you. That's a nice picture of me. That was at the beginning of the administration. As you can see, my hair is a different color now. But I haven't figured out if it's the job or the number of kids. But one of them did it. I do need to update that though. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you for having our office here. As it was mentioned, my name is Juan Ciscomani, and I'm Governor Ducey's Senior Advisor for Regional and International Affairs. We have presence in different countries. Mexico is our #1 trading partner, Canada being our #2 trading partner, so we have a strong working relationship with both of those countries and other countries as well around the globe. We host 32 countries that have diplomatic presence in the state of Arizona, and I have the privilege of representing the governor with these offices, as well as the Arizona-Mexico Commission, which I'll be speaking about that in just towards the end of my remarks this morning. But I did want to say, and I went over through that because I know some of you in the room, but I may not know all of you in the room. And I just wanted to say thank you for having us. You know, the Rotary world is personal to me. My parents, so I was born in Hermosillo. Do you guys know what Hermosillo is? The capital of the state of Sonora. That's where I was born. And I'm talking, the crowd that knows, of course. That was a silly question for me to ask, because I know Rotaries and I know Rotarians. My parents were leading the Rotary in Hermosillo for a while, and so did my grandparents before that. So I grew up in the Rotary world. my family moved to Tucson when I was very young, and I've grown up in Tucson here, so I'm happy to be in Arizona and Ciscomani, but I have roots clearly in the Rotary world. And also, I met some really good friends in this room. And when I was a student at the U of A, I went to community college for a couple of years and then transferred over to the U of A. So, homegrown kind of thing. And I joined a club at the U of A called SITE, Students in Free Enterprise. And we did projects around the world that promoted the value and the principles of free enterprise and the power of that, of helping people through whatever situation they have in their country, how to give and maximize their skills. And we had a specific project in San Carlos, Mexico, in Sonora, where we taught computer skills. And a couple from this group were the ones that got us hooked up with this project. And I want to mention their name because they're very special people to me. They've been my mentors for many years. And some of you may remember Alan Mcgraw from this group. Yeah, Alan and Ann were very, very close to me. Ann still is. As you may know, Al passed away almost 6 years ago. Big loss for the state, big loss for our country, big loss for everyone. Nevertheless, he always had a smile to give. He always had mentorship and advice. I joked around with Ann recently that I think my parents handed me over to them in my college years. And they said, help us with this guy. And they did. They did the best they could, paired up with my parents. And so they're very special to me both. Ann is now living in California. But I wanted to mention them because I met him in a room like this. And just to highlight how much Tucson Rotary Club means to me and the Rotary world overall. So thank you so much for having me here today. I'm going to speak to you today about the priorities of Governor Ducey, what we've been working on, and then I'll take some questions. So I'm going to keep my remarks somewhat brief and just kind of go over some highlights, let you know some of the things that we've been working on. And then from there, move on to questions, because that's really what I want to do. Address any questions, anything you're wondering out there. My job for the past 6 years with the governor, I've been with him the entire time, has been to be Southern Arizona's voice. That's how it started. Becky Freeman, who's here with me, is now the director of the Southern Arizona office. But that's where the first position I had with the governor before I moved into the senior advisor role. But the governor has made that position, the first one I held, and now with Becky holding it, as part of the senior staff of the governor, because he wanted to make sure that the voice of Southern Arizona was heard at the senior staff table of the governor's office. And that to me, when we had that first conversation, meant the world, because we hadn't seen that before. We've always felt, I'm from Tucson, that they kind of like forget about us down here sometimes. And when the governor said, I want you to have a seat at my senior staff table and be a member of the senior staff, that way you're in the loop on any decision that we make and actually have input on it and how it's going to impact Southern Arizona. I said, I'm going to jump at that opportunity immediately. So I've been doing that, representing the governor here and representing us to the governor as he prioritizes this region of the state as well. And it's been the honor of my professional career to be able to do that for our community and for the governor as well. So I want to highlight some of the business-friendly efforts and some of the business-friendly issues that we've been tackling lately. And like I said, what I'd like to do is open it up for questions at the end. And I'll tell you this, I may not always have the answer, but I'm never going to make up an answer. I'll let you know. I'll get back to you. I brought enough business cards to give out and say, hey, reach out and I'll be happy to get you that answer as soon as we can. So economic development initiatives have been a priority for our administration since day one. As you know, Governor Ducey comes from the private sector, from the business world. Cold Stone Creamery, if you've had that, you've had good ice cream and probably paid significantly for it. But it's all good ice cream. And that's where he grew that company from one store, and actually the second store was here in Tucson, into a global company. So he understands business, he understands the struggle that small businesses have, and the priorities that we need to push through government. Understanding that government doesn't create jobs. We're not the job creators. What the government can do is create an environment where businesses can thrive and create those jobs and grow. And that's what we've been trying to do for the time that we've been in office. Let me give you a quick COVID update, just because that's something that we like to just let you know where we are. It's so good to see everyone in person here today, having a good time. But I do want to thank you, because for the past 15 months, our community has stuck together through the tough times, the ups and highs and lows and everything. And we, there's been a lot of ideas, a lot of disagreement, a lot of pain, a lot of loss, both on literally lives, but also livelihoods. And those are the two things that we've set out to protect. Protect Arizonans' lives and also their livelihoods. And that's what we're so happy to be coming back. That's what we're happy that the economy is doing well. And that's what we're happy that we've distributed over 5.5 million vaccines in the state of Arizona so far. With over 2.6 million Arizonans that have received also their second vaccine. So we're at a point where everyone that wants a vaccine can get a vaccine. And we are proud of that accomplishment. We were the first in the country to set up a 24/7 vaccination site like the one you saw in State Farm Stadium over at the Cardinals Stadium, home of the Cardinals. We were the first in the country to do that. President Biden and Vice President Harris did a virtual tour of the site, and then encouraged the rest of the NFL teams to do something similar to that. So we're happy that we've been leading in this front, but again, I want to just say a very, very deep thank you for sticking this out and adapting your businesses and everything that you had to do during this time. Now, since taking office, Governor Ducey in 2015, we've led in a variety of fronts to simplify our tax system, and I'll be talking a little bit about that. But first, I want to talk about the economy overall. And you may know some of this, but I want to lay out some stats that our labor force has bounced back faster than most places in the nation. Arizona's labor force is now larger than it was before the pandemic. We have fewer job losses, and that's mainly due to our friendly business environment. We still have people moving in from other states that are not experiencing this. I love our California friends. My wife is from California, so we have a California that migrated into Tucson, and now we have 6 beautiful kids that are all Arizonans. But I like to joke around and say as the governor that we want to welcome our friends from everywhere that they're coming from, but especially if they're coming from states that those policies push them out. We welcome you, but let's not forget why you left those states. Let's not forget why those policies didn't work and why those policies pushed out a lot of our friends that are now here, and we welcome them. But we do have the way that we do things in Arizona. In Arizona, I love this state because it's a young state. It's a state that I like to call good ideas win kind of state. Party, matters much less than in other places around the country, and background, and family name, and all those kind of things. This is a very good state where you can just, come up with good ideas, start a business, grow it, and have your ideas implemented. So, very proud to be here. Just last week there was a forecaster that announced that Arizona's economy is set to recoup all of the jobs lost during the pandemic in the coming months. And that's from a professor up in the other university up north. But nevertheless, a good stat to quote, so I wanted to mention it. Now, Arizona is among the top states ranked for economic momentum. It's beginning likely that Arizona will become an electric vehicle manufacturing hub if we continue this course. If you've seen the amount of semiconductor plants that are coming in, high-tech and driverless efforts and companies and vehicles that are now being planted here in Arizona and manufactured here, is incredible. We actually now have more manufacturing jobs in Arizona than we do construction jobs. And that is a big difference from where we were when the recession hit in 2008. And that was a big reason why we had to diversify. And the Arizona Commerce Authority was born, and one of the missions was, let's bring these manufacturing jobs. And I'll actually pause here to mention a little bit on Mexico, and I'll touch on that at the end, but one of the companies that came to Arizona is Lucid Motors, if you've heard of it. Now, that company now, it's over 2,000 high-paying jobs in Casa Grande, in Pinal County. So when Governor Ducey looks at the state and is out there recruiting companies, and you guys know that Caterpillar that came here to Tucson, the governor helped secure that. It's interesting when you're in these meetings because I think most of these CEOs may be used to talking to a politician on the other end of the phone or on the other end of the table. But they quickly realized when they're talking to Governor Ducey, they're talking to another CEO, a person that thinks like that. And so in those conversations with Caterpillar, what they could do for the state and what the state could do for them, and how we can partner was a very interesting one. Lucid Motors wasn't different. Lucid Motors was looking at 60 different sites, 13 different states, and they ended up finalizing their count to about 3 states when they asked the governor, how's your relationship with Mexico, specifically with Sonora? You may know this, but Sonora has, I think it's the second largest sport plant in South America, anything south of the U.S., so North and South America. And so Sonora has had this automotive hub for decades now, and Lucid Motors was looking for the logistical hub to be able to do that. However, they wanted to plant their base of manufacturing here in Arizona. So it was all up to the relationship that we could display between Arizona and Sonora. The governor said, don't take my word for how good the relationship is. You can go down there and see that for yourselves. So they did. They visited Sonora. Governor Pavlovich hosted them. And that was a big regional win that both governors together attracted this company. Because we both came together to offer Lucid what they were looking for. One state alone may not have been able to do that. We don't have the kind of, the kind of port plant in that case that Sonora has. Nevertheless, we have other aspects like the land and what Pinal County was able to offer. So we came together to attract that company. Now they're set up, and if you haven't seen their plant, I mean, it's amazing. If you haven't seen their cars, go ahead and Google them, because they're really cool and they're really fast as well. And we're proud to have that here. And again, when the governor's looking at these companies, in his words, it doesn't really matter where they go in Arizona as long as they come to Arizona. Then it's up to each individual community to put their best foot forward and say, this is why Pinal County makes sense. This is why Pinal County makes sense. In some cases, this is why Yavapai County or other counties make sense. So we like to spread all this around the entire state to make sure that everyone has a chance to attract these companies, depending on what the company are looking for. So proud to do that. You might have seen this that a couple of weeks ago, the governor issued an executive order in response to surging job demand and to support job creators. The executive order resumes Arizona's long-standing requirement that people search for work in order to receive unemployment.
All right.
So I don't think anyone said it better than President Reagan when he said the best social program is a job. And we want to make sure that we're helping people through the tough times. Nevertheless, people are you're hiring. Our businesses are hiring. We want to make sure that people are able to go back to work, which they are. And this just is a step that we took. I heard, and Becky too, from many people around the state that say we're having a hard time hiring. We're having a hard time bringing our people back into work. And I think we've all been responsible. We've all been responsive to the needs as well. But it's time to get back to work. Another one is we expect job numbers to even further improve. Thanks to the governor's Arizona Back to Work plan, we will no longer be taking the federal pandemic unemployment compensation, and instead we'll be using federal money to encourage people to go back to work. A big part of this issue wasn't just what the state was offering in employment, it was also what was coming in from the federal government. So we've stopped, we're stopping to receive that, we're not receiving that anymore, and instead using federal funds to encourage people through programs and other things and incentives to go back to work. Again, making sure that you have the workforce that you need and that you can continue to keep the economy rolling. Pro-growth tax reform. You've seen some of this before. A couple of you mentioned it on my way in. We've pledged to cut taxes every single year of the administration, and we've done that. This is our 7th legislative session, and we are, standing strong by that promise. And at this point, we said we were not going to raise taxes, but instead cut taxes every year, and we've been able to do that. Making it easier and simpler. Sometimes it's been as easy as pairing something with the federal tax reform as well, so we have that parity, and other times it has been more significant. So just wanted to mention that as well. Now, we've continued to invest in education the entire time we've been in office. This has been a top priority for us, K-12 education and also universities and colleges. I'm a Pima grad, Pima Community College grad, and then U of A. I'm very proud of that. So now we've given Pima all community colleges in Arizona the opportunity to offer 4-year degrees as well. in my opinion, and in the opinion of many, I think, the community colleges are very nimble. They can transform their programs to the skills necessary that businesses have. We want to make sure that they have that option to not just be into that area, but also be innovative into the 4-year programs. So we're proud of that legislation as well. In terms of everything else in education, I have a list of investments. I won't go into them. I'll be happy to share them with you. But we've continually invested in K-12 education and in teacher salaries and raises. You remember that in 2018, we passed a 20% salary increase for teachers. That was spanned over incremental percentages for 3 years. So we're happy to be investing in our teachers, and we value them quite a bit. Obviously, I have 6 kids, 3 are in school, 3 are not, but at some point, that's a lot of teachers. Teacher Appreciation Day can get expensive around the Ciscomani household. We appreciate them. We appreciate them, and our school actually sets days apart to do that. I was like, can you do those around Christmas so we can just like pair up a gift and just like the day? My wife says no, and we don't do it. And we're happy to invest in them personally as well. Mask mandates as well. This was signed back in April 9th, over a month ago. I still didn't mention it, so it's significant for us. This legislation enables our businesses to continue acting responsibly while also preventing local governments from forcing businesses to enforce mask mandates. And this has been something that was necessary for us as well, as we heard from a lot of you also, and saying, can businesses make their own choices? And it was time to do that. And we did that, and we led the way in this, and now know that counties have also caught up with our notion here. I mentioned the community college. I want to actually close a little bit with the relationship with Mexico. That's something that I've been working on with the governor since I came onto the team. As I said, I was born in Hermosillo, so my first exposure to what we were going to do in Mexico was we have an office in Hermosillo, Sonora, and the governor appointed me to be director of that office. You know, you can kind of like see the full circle there of being born there, my parents leaving Hermosillo to come here and bring me for my sisters here for a better future, a better life, and then some decades later, the governor of the state appoints me to lead that office in Hermosillo. So it was a very proud moment for my parents. I don't think I realized exactly what the responsibility that I was inheriting at that time, but it's been quite the journey. I don't have to tell you how the relationship with Mexico was before we came into office, but we've focused on revitalizing that and reinvesting in it. When the governor first found out that a sitting Arizona governor had not been on a mission trip, on a business mission trip to Mexico City for over a decade when he came into office, being that Mexico is Arizona's #1 trading partner, ×4. It's not even close. Canada's #2, and it's a fourth of what trade with Mexico is. He said, I don't ever imagine not visiting my #1 customer for over a decade. So we went to Mexico City, we led a delegation there, and the message was clear. There's a new governor, there's a new way that we do things. Arizona's open for business. And trade since then has grown by over $2 billion in trade. We've been able to attract by investing in our ports of entry and making it more competitive by our infrastructure around the border region that allows more trucks to cross by. And of course, the pandemic took a big hit on the crossing, but on the business and truck crossing side of things, we're still doing well, and we've actually increased in this matter. So Mexico has been a priority for us since the first day. And later on, the governor appointed me to be to oversee the Arizona-Mexico Commission, which is a 62-year-old commission. And I'm going to close with this, and then I'll open it up for questions. The Arizona-Mexico Commission is something that Arizona is very, very proud of, and it's not something that I'm pumping up because we happen to lead it today. It's 62 years old. That means that decades before NAFTA was even an idea, Arizona and Sonora came together to form what they call Comisión Sonora Arizona, and what we call the Arizona-Mexico Commission. It's comprised of 16 binational committees, where you have 4 co-chairs for each committee, 2 from Arizona, 2 from Sonora, 1 private side, 1 public side. And each public side co-chair is the top appointed person from the governor in that. So whoever leads the transportation committee is the director of transportation for Arizona, John Halakowski. For tourism, it's Debbie Johnson, director of tourism. and so on. Sonora offers the same thing, and a private sector co-chair as well. What this allows us to do is that we can form initiatives like the safety corridor from Lukeville to Puerto Peñasco, which is Rocky Point. Many of you take that road, and we've invested in making that a safety corridor. Better communication, less interruptions from local authorities that don't have a need to be stopping anyone, and to make it safe once you arrive into Rocky Point as well. That's just one of the initiatives, and we can go on and on. Lucid is another one. All of this through the committee boards. No other state of the nation has that. No other two states from different countries in the world have something like this that's been around for 62 years. And both governors lead it. Governor Ducey is the chair of the board of the Arizona-Mexico Commission, and Governor Malovich chairs the Comisión Sonora Arizona. So with that, I want to just tell you, there's a lot to be proud of here with our state. We happen to now be leading the AMC, the Arizona-Mexico Commission, but this has been led by many governors before us, and it will be led by many governors after us. But no one said it better than Paul Fannin, Governor Paul Fannin, who in 1959 said these words about the relationship with Sonora, and he said, God made us neighbors, let's be good neighbors. And that's how the AMC was formed, and that's what I am proud to lead for the governor today. So with that, I'll open it up for questions. Jen, if someone can lead him up. If there's any hard one out there, I'll turn it over to Becky.
My question is simply, we're supposed to get in front of someone? Okay. Obviously, an electric infrastructure, electric vehicles, charging stations, so forth, takes a lot of copper.
Yeah.
Is the state doing anything in relation to, say, Rosemont copper, promoting this? We got a lot of copper mining here, but we still got a lot of copper to come out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Copper is one of the 5 C's of the state, so we definitely, that's a priority for us. I want to give you more information on something that we may be doing specifically. So I'll link you up with our Department of Environmental Quality to make sure that you know exactly what's going on in that area. With Rosemont and with anything else. Thank you.
What are the other 4 C's?
Don't test me. Only people that are run for office know those.
I'm appointed.
An issue that maybe can only be handled at the state level, and that is water. What's the strategies going forth other than hoping for increased rainfall and snowfall to keep the supplies?
Yeah, gosh, you guys hit me with the environmental high-level questions here. I'm going to have to answer it the same way. The governor's just signed an MOU around the security of water. As you know, water is not an issue just for Arizona. It's not an issue just for the surrounding states and the Colorado River. It's an issue that we have to work with the International and Boundary Water Association as well. So, that's kind of like a broad question. If we can talk offline so you can give me more specific things and what are you looking for, I can answer those answers.
Hi, thank you for mentioning the increase to teachers' salaries for K-12. I was wondering if there's a target year for Arizona teachers reaching the national median of salaries. Right now, we're at the bottom.
So in 2018, we passed a 10%, it was a 20% raise on teachers. So 10% the first year, 5% the next year, 5% the next year. No other state in the country gave teachers a 20% salary. We're happy to have done that. We also passed Proposition 123. Proposition 123 pumped $3.5 billion into the K-12 education system without raising 1 cent of taxes. So we've been responsibly investing into our K-12 education, and like I said, also universities. As much as we know that resources is an issue, we also know that pumping money into this and only resources is not the only solution for whatever issue we're facing with education. It is one of them, and it is one of the main ones, and that's what we've been investing in teachers, and not only in teachers, but in programs as well, and in anybody in the education field. And we're going to continue to do that.
Thanks for coming. During the Reagan years, we had the visa system, and it seemed like it was a really good time. I moved to Tucson in '82, and there wasn't a problem at the border. What changed to make it what it is today?
What changed from the 80s to now? Besides the mullet not being in anymore. which actually is coming back. I see a lot of those middle school students when I pick up my daughter with the straight up bullets, and I'm like, wow, I gotta catch this guy with that. But anyway, a lot has changed. A lot has changed, and then I can go into a lot of details, but specifically on the guest worker program, because security is a big factor right now. There's a crisis at the border, no question about that. We've visited, Becky and I were there before the governor visited the following day or so, and we saw firsthand how broken the system there is right now. And the unaccompanied minors, so many things have changed on the security front, of course. What on the guest worker side as well, several things have changed also. And several things haven't changed that should be adapted. Because in a lot of ways, we're still looking at Reagan-era approach and policies for a demand that has heavily shifted as well for workers. Now, one area that is still very hot in the agricultural guest worker program is Yuma. Yuma is the lettuce capital of the country. Over 70% of the lettuce sold around the country comes from Yuma in the winter. So this is a community that highly depends on the guest workers coming across. But I got to tell you, by the own admission of these agricultural, we call them the ag community in Yuma, most of these workers like to come early in the morning. They start lining up at about 2 a.m. and we've seen them. And they're in line to cross over. They cross into San Luis. They get bused over to Yuma. They work a long day, and guess what they do? Go back home. They go back home. They have no interest in staying over. They're not interested in not seeing their families for dinner. They go back, and sometimes the trip back is not much faster than the one up, because of lane closures and COVID restrictions and whatever you have it. They're taking a while to get back, and some of them don't get home until in the evening to just do that the following day again. So there are a lot of efforts that we can do in this. This is on the visa side more of a federal issue on that side, but in terms of the state, we want to make sure that we keep that flow, keep our communities safe, but also keep the country fed throughout the winter season. And Yuma is a big sector of that. And if you haven't visited Yuma in a while, the technology that they use is amazing. My family comes from the agricultural background too, in Hermosillo, which is an ag state as well. And when I shared with my dad the technology advancements and the water, how responsibly they're using water specifically, it's amazing. We're using less water now than we did in the 50s, with a population and an economy that has grown obviously, 2, 3, 5 fold. So that's we understand the issue. It's Arizona depends on it as well as does California and Texas in a big way. It's more of a federal issue on the visa side, but we get the benefits of that in Yuma County for sure. Are we good? Yes, okay, great. Well, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be here. Thanks for coming out. Thank you afterwards.
Thanks so much for coming to speak to our club today, Juan. We have a tradition in our club in which we have our keynote speaker sign a book that we donate to our Make Way for Books library. So today's book is A Bright Day at the State Capitol. There ought to be a lot. Okay, we have lots of birthdays today, you guys, so lots of good time to celebrate. But, as our President-elect Mark Irvin would say, in the interest of time, please be bold, be bright, be gone, right? Our first birthday we're celebrating, he had his birthday actually on May 11th. He's been in our club since February of 2017. Originally from Calcutta, India, he moved to the States to attend Indiana University, Bloomington, where he earned his PhD. He went on to teach geology and geophysics at Indiana State University for 30 years. Prodip Duda, I called him this morning because he doesn't have his high profile filled out. But I called him this morning. I told him that he needed to give me some interesting facts. And he said, Jennifer, I'm a very drab man. I started a charity in 2007 that he microfinanced. And this charity went on to liberate 4,000 women and children in India from poverty. So not many drab people would be able to accomplish such amazing things, Pro-Dip. Happy birthday.
That's a wonderful introduction. I don't have any color. It is white. Black trousers. Okay, I first would like to thank my sponsor, Fred, he's not here, and then to my mentor, Don. These two wonderful gentlemen shaped me, influenced me to be part of this big family here. What a wonderful family. I really appreciate that. I wanted to, well, I'm 86-year-old.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why I'm stalling.
More.
And I'm going to give you some political history today.
Oh, good.
When I became a member of this club, it was a very exciting time. Till I pledged, is it true? No. My date of birth, 11 May, is not true.
No.
Let me explain. This is where I'll give you a little bit of international politics.
You gotta go faster, Pradeep.
Okay, but you know, international history.
Yes.
We get 2 minutes. Okay, so yeah, it's very important. India became independent, and India was divided, and we were divided into 2 countries, Pakistan and India, and we were in Pakistan. But we had to move to India very quickly. And our family got kind of shattered, of course. And then we were separated from my father, from my elder brother who was in college. And then I moved with my mother. I was 12-year-old. My mother and 3 sisters. And I was the eldest male member of the family. So we rented a house, and our landlord became de facto guardian. And he took me to school. The school administrator asked, "What's his birthday?" He had no idea. He snatched a date from the thin year and said 11 May 1935.
Wow.
When the school leaving certificate came to us, microphone, okay, came to us, and the family was shattered. That was not my birthday. So when I took the oath here, is this true? It is not. Anyway, for this, I thought it was a sin to lie. So I'm giving 2 checks today. One for the fee that we pay for celebrating birthday. That's the way I look at it. And the other, a check for life for so long.
About your birthday.
For my birthday. Thank you very much. Both the checks are going to scholarship fund. Thank you.
All right.
The next birthday we're celebrating was on May 16th. He's been a member of our club since December of 2004. Owner of Cartridge World Tucson, past president 2018, 2019, past car show chair. Born in San Francisco. Chuck Sawyer grew up all over the U.S. as he was in an Air Force family. Sorry. He received his bachelor's degree from the University of Oregon and his MBA from Thunderbird. Chuck enjoys hiking, golfing, and he enjoys saying yes anytime I call him and ask him a question. Need help with something? So I appreciate that. Chuck says the best part of Rotary for him is all of the remarkable people in our club and the impact we have in Tucson around the world.
I'll stay right here. We'll keep this one real brief, but it's great to be here. You have a couple years on me, Brody. I'm 63. I'll catch up here. I just want to say that I want to thank my sponsor, Kathy Kitagawa, who's here, and my mentor, Hank Peck, who I miss. And I've got some checks. We got a check for Polio Plus for the ride for Jim Levinsky. I'm going to split it this year with Ellie Patterson. And I've also got a Continue My Sustaining Paul Harris. And then I also have a check this month for our foundation for International. And I just want to say, over the last month and a half, that we've been able to get together and get this number of people in a room. I just love the energy. It makes all the difference in the world. Wouldn't want to be anyplace else. Thank you.
Okay, the next birthday is going to be on May 24th. They've been in our club since January of 2019. He is with Milestone Scientific and Juan Dental, a graduate of St. Mary's College, but he went on to later graduate from the USC School of Dentistry. Jean Casagrande was born and raised in California, practiced dentistry in Los Angeles for 30 years. He has served as president on the California Board of Dentistry and the Los Angeles Dental Society. He is a proud father to 4 daughters and grandfather to 10 grandchildren. Something exciting about this member is he has actually been knighted by the President of Italy. Happy birthday, Jean Casagrande.
Thank you very much. I don't know where, I guess I put that in something I was applying. I don't know, in my resume, sort of like my CV, something like that. Anyway, I'm very, very happy to be here with you again. I missed a year. With the COVID, my wife wouldn't let me come here. So I'm very happy to be back for the last couple of weeks. And I'd like to thank my sponsor. And I'm very, very pleased and honored to be with my sponsor, with the first president that I had here in Rotary. And my sponsor, or my mentor, is I don't know where he is. Scott Vaughn. He was supposed to be there. Scott, where are you? You're supposed to be up here. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. So it's been a real pleasure to be a part of this wonderful organization. I really appreciate all of you. I've only been a couple of years here, and I hope to be able to get to learn and to know more about each of you. And very, very happy to be a member. And I want to say one thing. I just want to thank and congratulate Jennifer on an amazing year as president.
Okay, and the last birthday, last but not least, we're celebrating actually is on May 27th. He's been in our club since September of 2001, almost 20 years, you guys. Is he going to push me off the stage? Yes. He's a past president. He served from 2009 to 2010. This U of A graduate retired from planned giving for Arizona Public Media. Scott Vaughn is our Paul Harris presenter extraordinaire. And always finds such meaningful ways to honor our Paul Harris fellows while giving them such extraordinary gifts at the end. Yeah. His background is in broadcasting, so it is no surprise that he is our talented MC for our car show. Come on up here, Scott.
Well, happy birthday, boys. I didn't know I was supposed to sit there, Gene, and as a result, our president, did you all know that beautiful desserts are provided to the birthday table.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, our president delivered one to me, and I'd like to apologize to my table. for eating a magic creme brulee. And I'm so sorry. And Gene Casagrande, who you saw, was May 24th, was born 3 days before me on May 27th, but it was the same year, so I can tell you his age. He'll be 78 next week.
Wow.
Happy birthday. And he's my elder, so you know, I can say this. Oh, but I digress. About me now. I wanted to join this club for 20 years, but I was blocked by the one from each category rule. And my friend in 2001, my dear friend Brett Houston, informed me that the clubs may now have multiple members in the same category. A direct order from Paul Harris. So Brett proposed me for membership, and that was great. I've been really trying to get in. My mentor was Wayne Meyer. Despite the fact he's been my friend for 55 years now, he never called me once. But really, my appreciation of being here with you only grows each year, especially when I became a past president. It's like, do nothing from now on. It's really cool. The same goes for Margie. She's my past first lady. We celebrated anniversary number 55 this year. And we're really grateful also. Lucky for her. Thanks to Susan and Mike Anderson, they hosted at their own house a special dinner with past presidents who were still surviving in their days in order to celebrate the 100th year of our club. They just did a really, really magnificent job for us. And Mike surprised me, and he had a microphone, and he asked each of the 20 survivors to come up and say a few words about their year. And so I didn't know what the hell to say. So it was something like, my year was 2009 and 10, and I had a wonderful board member and committee chairs that got so much done. And what did we get done? We replaced the printed, oh man, you might be the other side. I'm so close to done. We replaced the printed and mailed Tucson with the email version of today. We got no applause for that. We embraced the Club Runner as our public and private website. And in keeping with Rotary's purpose as a business club, we launched into sponsorships, which allowed members who had businesses to increase their visibility on our screens and on our website and in various ways. And then there was our only employee who we noticed had been forging our checks and stealing the club's money, possibly for years. What to do? Well, you're fired, of course. And we would like you to meet these two uniformed Tucson police officers who wish to talk to you. And from our board and from our membership, I assembled a leadership team to deal with the aspects of the issue: criminal law enforcement, court systems, practices, and penalties, our insurance status, which was a big concern. And it was a time when well-known nonprofits were receiving real adverse media coverage for either not protecting their assets correctly or for wasting money. So my biggest concern was our club's reputation, which, if damaged, could take many, many years to recover. I'm interested in the history aspect of our club, and I'd like to join that group, so maybe I could have more mic time. Okay.
Where was I?
Where was I?
I can pick that up after the meeting.
Jen. Today we will be inducting 2 new members into the Rotary Club of Tucson Foundation Legacy Society. It's quite a mouthful. That will bring our number of members to 24. I would like to ask all of our Legacy Society members who are present today to please stand and be recognized. Thank you. We would love to have more members join us in the Legacy Society. It takes only $10,000, either given during your lifetime or as a bequest to become a member of the society. Many of you who have been members of the club prior to 2015 knew Don Shropshire well. I remember him for his friendliness and his smile. He was known for his signature bow ties. Guess why you see so many bow ties around the room today? It's in honor of him. Don was a Rotarian for 55 years and was a president of our club. When Don received one of his Paul Harris Awards, and there were many because he did his wife's, his children and grandchildren, he was asked to say why he donates to Rotary International programs. He responded, in a troubled world, service above self is even more essential. Rotary International gives me the strength of service locally and globally and makes my life more complete. Don served TMC as president for 46 years. He was recognized as the Tucson Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce Man of the Year in 1987 and by the Father's Day Council as Father of the Year in 1997. Don and his wife Mary Ruth's other recognitions and contribution to this community are way too numerous for me to include today. Don and Mary Ruth were married for 64 years and had 2 children, Devin Shropshire and Melanie David. You will hear from Melanie in a few minutes about memories she and Devin have of Don's. Their gift from their trust of more than $94,000 to the scholarship endowment of our foundation will assure students receive scholarships into perpetuity. Including this gift, our Legacy Society represents close to $1.2 million in funded and pledged contributions for the future. It is my honor today to induct Don and Mary Ruth Shropshire as members of, and I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing that, Shropshire, as members of the Rotary Club of Tucson Foundation Legacy Society, and to have Melanie with us to represent her parents. Devin, her son, is watching us remote from North Carolina. Hi, Devin. Melanie, please share your Rotary memories with us.
Thank you, Joe and Charlotte and Jennifer and Rotarian friends. My brother Devin and I are so grateful and honored for the opportunity to remember our parents in support of the Rotary Legacy Society inclusion. Thank you. I'm also, as I look around and I see all of these wonderful bow ties, I'm so impressed not only that you would wear the bow ties, men and women, but also the execution of how you presented it. Well done, well done. I'm looking, and this is a really good picture of my mom and dad, and I'm so glad that it was my dad's photo that was not used for the incoming Rotary president, because the vision of my dad, the CEO of Tucson Medical Center and incoming president of Rotary Club of Tucson at the time, in full body Superman spandex, with tights and a little flowing cape and blonde wig, will forever be ingrained in my brain, and many of yours as well. So grateful, excuse me, that Facebook was not around at that time. Congratulations on the centennial anniversary of this club. Each of you are to be commended for your continued and valued commitment to service above self. Our dad served this community for 46 plus years as a Rotarian. He loved investing and giving back in our community. And as a professional storyteller, former teacher, and community volunteer, our mom was particularly encouraged with Rotary sponsorship for the Reading Seed program and Make Way for Books. As an educator myself, this club's valued support continues to make the lifelong positive impact in Tucson's high-needs schools. Both our parents instilled in us Rotary values, including the 4-way test. Years ago, one of my kids had a very vivid imagination, and her perception of the truth often found her in trouble. And my mom and I hung a 4-way test plaque right outside her bedroom, so coming and going, she had a little gentle reminder. She now serves in law enforcement with a zero tolerance for lying. My other daughter and son were blessed to be recipients of Rotary International's Youth Exchange Program. And 20 plus years later, Ashley and Sean still continue to connect with their friends and Rotary leadership in Germany and in Peru. There is a mutual cultural respect and understanding. Both my brother and I fondly recall our Salvation Army bell ringer days at Foley's and Goldwater's and Macy's with our dad, decked out in a bright red smart jacket and Christmas bow tie and probably wearing his Rotary pen, a little bit of tinsel wrapped around. Don Shropshire warmly greeted every passerby and even opened the door for them. And by the way, we learned from experience that when you open the door for people, the donations are more. And it was always Christmas in October each year with when our parents offered us a fistful full of raffle tickets for Rotary's Classic Car Show. We never won a car, but the lives in our community were blessed. And I understand this year it is an awesome new red Corvette. Wow. The money should definitely come in there. One personal lifelong Rotary goal that both our parents accomplished was the funding for each of our family to become Paul Harris Award recipients. These are just a few examples of the lifelong educational and humanitarian legacy opportunities with Rotary for which our family embraces. Rotary Club of Tucson's innovative boots on the ground continues to support this vision for people to unite and take action to create a lasting change across the globe in our communities and within ourselves. This is our Rotary legacy. Thank you.
Okay, 4-way test award, Margaret Higgins. My kind of Rotary twin today. It's easy. Oh, my sons.
I looked for mine, but I could only find a Halloween one, and I thought that would be respectful. There we go. Now, prehistory, but in the interest of time, I'm not going to take you back in prehistory. That is pre-Scots and pre-Prodigies. And as for a definition of a mullet, as you can imagine. The 4-way test award, thank you for introducing it earlier today on screen. It was brilliant, there was a talk about it. And I have to say that last night I was listening to, excuse me, BBC Radio 2, and my ears pricked up because there was a long discussion about the 4-way test award. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I sat there, listening to it, quite entranced to find out what was happening in England. But what I want to say is that this is a prestigious and obviously an internationally recognised, as we heard last night, award. And this Rotary every year, apart from COVID last year, every year awards the 4-way test award to individual or individuals in our community who have done stellar work for many years and are nominated and are deserving of the award. So this year I'm asking Jim Murphy to come and do the introductions, but do note that in future years we'll be trying hard to find people to match these recipients this year, the 4-way award. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Jen, Rotarians and guests, let me digress just a minute. Rotarians know that if their phone goes off in the middle of the meeting, there's a $100 fine. Guests probably don't know that, but there are some maybe who have attended meetings and who should know that. But one of our guests today, his phone did ring, and I think he should add $100 to the amount of tickets that he's going to buy for the car show this year. And unfortunately, Scott Juan did not heed Mark Irwin's advice on being short and being done. And unfortunately, I can't do that either because of the honor we're talking about today. I first want to recognize other Rotarians who were co-nominators for today: Charlotte Harris, Mark Irwin, Joe DeChatelet, Clint Mabey, Richard White, and Ken White. It was our pleasure to nominate Kathy Alexander and Paul Lindsey, husband and wife, for the Rotary Club of Tucson 2021 4-Way Test Award. This, our centennial year, we thought it appropriate to nominate 2 people, maybe rather than 1. And it's only the second time in the history of this award that it has been 2 individuals. We don't believe that there are many other couples who we know individually or collectively exemplify the ideals and personal traits of the 4-way test in both their professional and community activities. I first met Kathy during the 70s when we were volunteers for the Cancer Society. She was much younger. She's much younger today.
Good save.
Kathy has a bachelor's degree in sociology from Ciscomani from Kansas State University, a master's in sociology from the U of A, and a master's degree in management from the University of Phoenix. For 13 years, Kathy was the vice president director of the University of Phoenix. In that capacity, she led and managed 15 Arizona campuses with 18,000 students, 500 full-time administrative staff, and 600 faculty. Prior to that, Kathy was the executive director of information referral services. In her retirement, among other things, she acquired and is the owner of Salon Nouveau. In the past, Kathy has been a member of the board of directors for the Arizona Historical Society, Boys and Girls Club, and a VIP pet therapy volunteer. Kathy was on the Tucson Village Farm Board Chair and currently is co-chair of their Growing Together campaign. She is the board chair of the Tucson Botanical Gardens and currently is the chair of their seasonal board. After serving as board chair of Handy Dogs, she was the co-founder and is co-chair of Doggy Shorts Furry Film Fest in conjunction with the Loft Cinema. She serves on the board of directors of the Reed Park Zoological Society, is a member of Charter 100, an organization of women leaders in Arizona, and an emeritus member of Women at the Top. Kathy has been honored with the Irish Newhurst Lifetime Achievement Award and the YWCA Women Who Lead, presented by the U of A Women's Studies Advisory Council. She also received the Phyllis Ellinger Woman of Excellence Award for the American Advertising Foundation and the Copper Cactus Community Service Award for Small Business. Paul Lindsey, on the other hand, I don't know why Kathy ever married him, but anyhow, he's done pretty well for himself. He's had a very varied career, being the founding president and then executive director of COPE, a nonprofit social service agency specializing in community-based chronically mentally ill people. It was during his more social service period that I first met Paul. He then graduated into the Lord Baron period, where he was active for many years in real estate and property management. I think it was Chapman and Lindsey, is that the name of the property management company? His experience led him to be the owner and president of Caldwell Banker Success Southwest Realty, LLC. A number of years into that, in a very successful business, he had a call from a group from out of town who wanted to talk to him about buying the business. He was really not interested at the time in selling it, but he thought it might be fun to entertain a meeting with him. So a few weeks later, in the summertime, in comes two young ivory type into his business. After a while, they gave him a piece of paper with a number on it, much as you see in a film, and the business was sold. It must have been a really good number. He told me today that it was right a couple weeks after that when the Great Recession started, and he really lucked out, because that business would not have survived at the level it was at the time. His work was recognized during that period as an honor, receiving an honorary Doctor of Human Letters from the University of Arizona as president of the Tucson Association of Realtors and president of the Arizona Association of Realtors. After retiring, he purchased and sold the Arizona Stage Company. Paul's current community activities include co-incorporator and board member of the Tucson Alliance for the Performing Arts, board chair of the Tucson Village Farm, a member of the U of A Eller College National Board of Advisors, and the Arizona Public Media Community Advisory Board. He is the program funder and sponsor of the Lindsey internship at the Eller School, University of Arizona, and is on the U of A College of Education National Advisory Board. He's been a lot of other things, and I'll skip some of those because I know we have time. Kathy and Paul, would you come up as I say just a few more words about you, please? Kathy and Paul have opened their beautiful home to a variety of nonprofit fundraising events and other activities, and played host to all of these at their expense. The list is long, but just a few who have benefited from their generosity are the Arizona Public Media, the Loft Cinema, Habitat for Humanity, Pima Library Foundation, Los Daños, Handy Dogs, and the Jewish Community Council. Individually and collectively, there is no doubt that Kathy and Paul model the four-way test of behaviors and ethical standards. Our unsung heroes, one of our Rotarians mentioned that they're hardly ever in the limelight, and you can see from the things they've done, they're not as well known in this community as many others, and they've contributed as much or more. They have been extraordinary volunteers and well known, but leading by their example. Please stand and let's give a great congratulations.
Well, I will be brief. I just want to tell you that Paul and I were so surprised and so deeply honored and so appreciative of receiving this award, particularly coming from this group of people who epitomize community service. So it really means a great deal to us. We want to thank all the committee that worked to create this award, and a really big thank you to Jim Murphy for nominating us.
Ferris Bueller moment. We're moving the time backwards right now. All right, Bruce Jacobs. Yeah.
Repeat
Be brief, be bold, and be gone. Mixer next Wednesday, Brother John's, if you want to go sign up. Thanks.
Okay. If you guys have picked up your car show tickets, don't leave them at the table. All right? If you haven't picked them up, go to the back of the room on your way out and get them from Roger and Jeannie. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for all the guests for coming. Thanks to people who tuned in virtually. Happy birthday, Prodip, Chuck, Jean, Scott. We'll have to give you some more time, like maybe during March here. Congratulations, Kathy and Paul. All right, next week's a replacement mixer, and I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting today, but today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. No, not to the traditional toast, as I normally end in a quote and toast, but I'm going to end things a little bit differently in light of the upcoming venue decision. I know that there's been a lot of passionate feelings about this venue decision. It's pending, you guys. The decision has not been made. It hasn't, okay? A lot of time, discussion, consideration is going into where our new home will be. Strong opinions have been shared, and some members may ultimately not be happy with wherever we end up. But ultimately, each and every one of us need to ask ourselves, what defines us as Rotarians? We are the Rotary Club of Tucson. We've been in this community and serving it for 100 years. Ask yourself, do the children and parents whose lives we've changed through our commitment and contribution to literacy define us? Is it the wheelchairs we've provided through the wheelchair project and to those in need in Nogales? Maybe it's the educational opportunities that we've provided through our scholarships and the Rotary Vocational Fund. Perhaps the millions of dollars we have raised in the ride to end polio. What about the car show, you guys? Then there's the commitment we have made to JTED and investing in our community's future. Fellowship, friendship, watching the car show come together, you guys, and be such a tremendous success year over year for our community. Think about all the service projects we've contributed as a club. The examples are countless and profound, and not one of them has anything to do with where we meet for lunch.
Hear, hear.
I know that you may be disappointed. Some of you may be disappointed with the ultimate decision.
We can get over it.
But I ask each and every one of you to dig down deep and ask yourself, why are you here? We are a club that's united in our efforts and our commitment to our community and globally to make a difference. Where we meet is secondary to who we are as Rotarians. I know what we are capable of when we are working together. We are better when we are united, working towards service above self. Our venue does not define us. It is simply a means to an end. Remember what our history is. Our history of service is our legacy, not our venue. So, thank you.